Hey VT, back and we're doing a little bit more work with Adobe Illustrator. Today we're going to start by going to File, New, and creating a new artboard that we can call, um, let's call this one Typography Play, I guess. This one's going to be a letter size document is totally fine. We're going to use hamburger style or portrait style or vertical style artboard, and we're going to hit OK. It's going to produce a nice white area for us to work on. We're going to start off by using the Type tool. The Type tool, when clicked on, allows you to click on your white space once to produce the little cursor, the little blinking cursor, and then we can type words. Well, let's type the word mutate. Mutate. How about that? When you type a word, it by default is in a font called Myriad Pro, and we are in the midst of talking about how typography, based on what font you choose or how the type is manipulated, how it can change the communication. So we're learning a lot about Adobe Illustrator, but we're also trying to communicate the meaning of the word by changing it. So we're actually going to mutate the word mutate a little bit today. So I'm going to kind of zoom in a little bit, Control plus, Control minus, still just like Photoshop. If I zoom in a little bit, I can see that the text comes out and it has like a line underneath it, and it does not have anchor points. So while there's a line underneath the text when it's fresh and it's has that line, you can still go back and you can click your cursor on it and you can still delete, and you can still change the way that it looks, just like you could like in your homework assignments on a word processor. If I wanted to make the word mutate look a little bit more like mutate, I might just put it in capital letters, and I also might choose a different font for this. Maybe I either bold this a little bit or choose a different font that has a little bit more of a bold look to it. So I know that the typeface Impact is one of my favorite sort of bold typefaces. But so up here in the control panel, it says for character, it says Myriad Pro, and you can choose like whatever font you want. You can click inside of here, and if you double click to highlight where it says the name of the font, you can then scroll with your scroll wheel on your mouse or click up and down on the keyboard to scroll through all the different types of fonts that you have on the computer. If I was to type the word impact, then it shows up here and I hit enter and it will go to that font for me. Now that I have that word typed out in a bolder sort of look to it and it's all capitals, now I'm good with the way that it looks with some of those basic functions, but I want to take it to the limit. I really want to mess with the letters individually. Like I want to make one look like it's melted. I want to make one look like it has an eyeball on it. I really want to mutate this thing. So I'm not going to be able to do it in its current state because really the only things I can do to this word are things that you could do to your homework. So in order to make big changes to these letters, I need to turn them into shapes. Once they're turned into just normal shapes, then I can edit them with a lot of the features that Adobe Illustrator provides. So I right-click on the text itself, and I go to Create Outlines. The same option can be found by going to Object, by going to Type, Create Outlines. Shift Control O is the key command for that. So I usually right click on the text and then go to Create Outlines. When you create outlines, you can see that now you can see all the anchor points and paths, just like you could like if you made a rectangle shape with the shape tool or drew something with the pen tool. Each letter is made up of its own unique set of anchor points and paths. It is still grouped, however, so like when I click on the M, the whole word gets selected, and if I just wanted to work with the M off the bat, I could right-click on it and go to Ungroup, or go to Object, Ungroup, or hit Shift-Control-G. Now that it's ungrouped, when I click off of or hit Select, Deselect, I can select just the M. I'm going to focus in, I'm just going to zoom in on the M. I can hit Control plus to zoom in, or some people like to use the zoom tool. You can hit Z to get to it quickly, and then you can click and drag to make a zoom box, and then it'll zoom in on that specific area. When I'm zoomed in, I like to hold down the space bar to move things. It's the hand tool. It's located at the bottom of your toolbar. If you hit space bar, whatever tool you're using will turn into the hand momentarily, and you can move it. For the M, what I want to do is I want to use the direct selection tool. It's the white arrow. Alright, the black arrow can move stuff around. It can select your objects, it can move stuff around, it can even spin things. It can make things bigger. You can stretch from the corners holding down shift, or if you really wanted to make things warped, you could not hold down shift and stretch from the sides and really mess with stuff. The direct selection tool is different. It allows you to select individual anchor points or paths. It directly selects individual anchor points and paths. So when I click on an anchor point, and then I click on it again and drag it, it just moves that one anchor point. Of course, that anchor point has connections to, it has paths coming out of it that are connected to other anchor points that aren't moving at that time. So you can feel free to click on to select, and then click on it again, hold it down and drag it, move it wherever you want. The other thing that's kind of cool about the direct selection tool is if you select a path, because a path is selected and it's connected to is connected to anchor points, it will bring along with it the anchor points that it's connected to, and then the anchor points are connected to other lines, so you kind of get a bunch of stuff moving when you select a path instead of just one individual anchor point. You can also select a couple anchor points at the same time, not the whole letter, but you could click and drag to make a selection box, and then go to move that, and you can see that both of those anchor points are being moved. If you wanted to click and drag to make a selection box, all the bottom anchor points now would move. So you can do all sorts of fun stuff with that. In addition, I want to show this tool as well while we're talking about the direct selection tool. So now that you can move anchor points individually, and you can move lines individually, what if you wanted to move something that doesn't currently exist? You could click and hold the mouse button down on the pen tool and then select the add anchor point tool to make multiple anchor points where there wasn't any before, and now you can move those. So really, with a shape or with a letter that's been turned into a shape via create outlines, you can make it look however you want. I mean, I still want this M to be readable as an M, but you can really edit this however you want it to look. I hope this helps. We're going to continue to mutate this word. We're going to go one letter at a time. I'll be back.